In this video, I'll be reacting to Cambridge examiners explaining how to be a great speaking candidate for the B2 and C1 advanced exams. Let's get started.
So, Angela, Bridget, what do good candidates do in speaking tests?
A number of things, I think. They listen carefully, listen to the tasks, listen to their partners.
So the examiner is saying, listen carefully. This means you need to pay attention to questions and answer questions accordingly. You're not going to just answer whatever you want. Listen carefully and understand what they're asking you. You can also pause briefly before answering to process the question.
They listen and also react to what their partners have said to keep the conversation going.
Yes.
They show they're interested in what their partner
Yes,
says,
yes.
which is important.
Yes.
Keep the conversation going. Remember, this is not a one-way interview. A good candidate helps the conversation flow. Like you can ask your partner questions like, what do you think, or what's your opinion, in order to keep the conversation going.
And they interact with, as you said, with both their partner and with the interlocutor throughout the exam.
So interact with the partner and examiner. Remember, interaction is part of your score. You cannot just sit and talk directly to the examiner. Sometimes you have to interact with your partner. You can look at your partner and smile, nod, saying like, that's true, exactly. Or saying like, really? That's interesting. These phrases will show that you are interested and you're listening.
In part 3, for example, they move the interaction forward. Very good candidates, don't they? They actually take control together and keep it going, move it towards a conclusion of some sort.
So move the conversation forward. That means you are listening to your partner and you can develop their ideas and not just talking about your idea or repeating yourself. For example, you can add new points by saying another important point is, or you can offer comparisons, like not always showing agreement. You can say something like, yeah, that's true, but on the other hand, and then you can say something different.
I think also a bit of eye contact is very natural in a good conversation.
Eye contact is very important because that shows confidence. And remember, you're talking to real people, so you shouldn't always looking at the table.
Yes.
So I think that sort of body language is encouraging to a partner.
Yes. Yes. So it's a good feature of interactive communication, isn't it?
Yeah.
So using like this body language, like you might say, what kind of body language you're expecting me? Like simple things like leaning forward or looking at your partner when they're talking, smiling.
And in part 2, when they're describing the photos, obviously they're relying on their language resources, but they manage with what they've got, I suppose, is what a good candidate does.
Like as you know, in part 2, you get to talk for about a minute. And most students panic if they forget a word. So what you have to do in this situation is that using the languages that you already have. If you forget a word, rephrase it, explain. You don't need to just exactly use that word. We don't want any dead air, like those times that you're not talking or you're saying, For example, if I look at the pictures and I don't know that word or that device the man is holding, I can say like, it looks like a blah, 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 blah. I think it's a tool for blah, 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 blah. You see, I don't know the name, but I can describe it.
And they show an ability to extend
Yeah.
when is possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to not get stuck, to paraphrase if the word doesn't come, they know it, but not to spend time struggling, but to paraphrase it somehow,
Yeah,
to find a way of
absolutely.
expressing what they want
Yes,
to say.
that's a good skill.
Yeah. And they balance fluency and accuracy, which is related to being able to paraphrase and so they don't dry up, but they're also monitoring what they say as well to be accurate.
So balancing fluency and accuracy. So fluency means that you're speaking without any problem, like you're speaking smoothly, and accuracy refers to speaking without mistakes. So how do you do that? The best way is to control your speed. If you talk too fast, yeah, you have a great fluency, but your accuracy drops because you might make more mistakes. So try to have a balance, not too fast, so you still have a very good fluency, but everything you're saying is also correct.
What else? I guess they ask questions if they don't understand.
Oh, yes.
Ask questions if you don't understand. A lot of students are scared of this, like, oh my God, if I ask question, I'm gonna lose some score. No, that's totally fine. You can ask questions, like you can say, could you repeat that again, please? And it's totally fine. You're not gonna lose any score, but do not expect them to rephrase the question or say it differently or explain it to you. That's not gonna happen. They're just gonna simply repeat the question for you.
It's important
Help,
instead of
help their
floundering.
partner
Yes.
sometimes as
Yes.
well.
Yeah, it helps to keep them relaxed, I think, if they know that they have if there is the opportunity to ask for help. That's something they can do, and it's a good thing.
So help your partner. Definitely in part 1 and 2, you might not be able to do that. But in part 3 and part 4, where you have to interact with the other partner, you can do it easily. Like if you ask them a question and they say, yeah, you can ask them a follow-up question. Why do you think that? Like, do you agree?
And I suppose they're putting all their hard work and all their preparation before the exam into the exam on the day.
So this means that if you learn some new structures or vocabulary, try to show and use them during the test. Use some structures like firstly, secondly, in conclusion, or vocabulary that you learned related to different topics. If the question is about a sport, try to use some sport vocabulary that you learned.
And therefore that's a good performance.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, being able to overcome nerves, which is obviously a non-linguistic skill, but that can make a big difference to how well they perform on the day.
Being able to overcome your nerves, that is a little bit difficult. How do you do that? Totally normal to be nervous. I know that for sure. But how can you manage that? I would always ask my students to record themselves before the exam. Try to record, talk in front of the camera. Video would be better than recording your voice because you can see yourself and you can kind of talk. It's like talking into a mirror, but you can after that listen to yourself and give yourself feedback. And also deep breathing is very helpful. Before you answer any question, take a deep breath and then answer.
I suppose it also helps for them to have practiced sufficiently so that they have a feeling for how long a minute is. Because when you're nervous, a minute does feel like a long time.
Yes.
When you're practicing, try to practice with a timer. For example, in part 2, you got to talk for a minute. And a lot of students don't time themselves when practicing, so they don't know how long they should talk. And you should talk for a minute until the examiner says, thank you, or they stop you. And that is very important. So use a timer, do it for a couple of times, and you will kind of guess how long a minute is.
Yeah.
And that's important to have maintain the flow long enough and not stop too early.
Yeah.
And that's
It's
not
very difficult to restart.
and it's not difficult to practice it in that way, is it?
Yeah, that's very important because if after 30 seconds you stop, you have to find a way to restart again, and that's usually very difficult. If you have a structure, you know what you have to do, how to start, how to continue, and how to develop, and how to end it. You're not going to have any problem talking for 1 minute.
Bridget, you can think of all kinds of topics and have a stopwatch and just do it.
Yeah.
And I think probably the more prepared you are in a test, then the more relaxed you are.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the more prepared you are, the more relaxed you are. That is 100% true. Think about any situation in your life. Whenever you study and you prepare yourself for something, you feel more relaxed doing it and also more confident.
So knowing how long their answers should be, roughly, say in part 1, knowing that it's 2 or 3 sentences, and knowing that in part 4 they need to extend their answers as well. So being able to extend where it's appropriate.
So perfect. As she said, like in part 1, they expect you to have like 2-3 sentences answer, not too long and not too short, because they're not looking for yes or no answers. And in part 4, you should try to extend your answers. How do I extend my answer? Using reasons or examples.
And not to be put off when the interlocutor interrupts them because of the timing.
Yeah,
That's true.
That's part of
That's very important.
preparation.
Actually.
And don't be afraid if they interrupt you. Say, oh my God, the examiner just said thank you. Don't say like, oh, I have more things to say, or let me finish. No, it's fine. It's normal. There is a timer for each of those tasks. And after you've done or you talked for that specific amount of time, they will say thank you, and it's normal. Don't try to continue talking.
School or
yeah.
college.
So actually a lot of it is coming back to preparation,
Yes.
isn't it, really?
Yes.
And preparation is the key. Remember, you cannot perform well if you haven't prepared. So try to watch sample test videos, record yourself as speaking. This is very, very important. Try to put your camera in front of yourself and talk to it and give yourself feedback. And build topic vocabulary in advance. There are certain topics that is expected for a B2 or a C1 level candidate to be able to talk about. Study those and practice in advance. I also created a course that will teach you all the vocabulary you need to pass this test. And if you need help to prepare yourself for this B2 or C1 advanced exam, DM me on Instagram. The ID is here. You can also find it in the description. And if this video was useful, don't forget to like, subscribe so you never miss another video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.